I'll just start. Oh. Hello. Um, Let me just sort some things out as that video's behind, so it confuses me. Paste that. What's it doing now? If I go on. Sorry about this, guys. I hope it's not too echoey. I have come in here because I thought it'd be better lighting. So I'm sat in a really uncomfortable position, to be honest. But I thought the lighting might be better. And I tried to open the window so they wouldn't be echo. So can everyone hear me okay? God, this is taking longer than I thought. Right, okay. It's so hard to set up. It's so hard to set up these lives. Like, YouTube don't make it easy at all. Okay. Right, let's get the other window up. So we're here today. Can everyone hear me? Can someone comment that they can hear me? Thank you, Dave. Right, so we are here to talk about goals. If you miss any of this, obviously it'll still be up on my channel. The lag on this is so unreal. Right, okay, so we're here to talk about goals. So I think the first thing to talk about is why we set goals. So there is millions of reasons why we might set goals: self-improvement, fitness, just might have goals just for a challenge. Like, it's obviously personal to every single person. So I think when coming up with goals, we obviously have to think about what is actually possible in our lifestyle, and we don't want to take too much stuff on as well, because that's when it comes overwhelming and it gets a bit too much. So let's talk about burnout. So burnout is when we set a goal, but obviously we get a bit burned out because maybe we set a goal what is not possible in the time period we want it in. Or maybe we've set a goal what's a bit too high, we should aim for something a bit lower first. Not saying that couldn't be a long-term goal, but it's not possible in the time period we are thinking about doing it in. So that is probably the biggest reasons we get burnout when we come up to goals, obviously. And I would say burnout is probably the biggest reason that people get a bit overwhelmed and get put off trying to complete their goal. So a lot of people, when they're setting goals, they'll set like they want to run a marathon or ultra, maybe in flexibility terms, because some of my pole students are watching this. Maybe they want to get a split, handspring, maybe they want to get a pull-up. So like that is what we should think of the outcome of the goal. So the outcome is where we want to be. So that necessarily shouldn't be a goal, because it's not really a smart goal. So it's achievable, but in the time scale, it might be a bit hard, a bit of a push. So maybe when coming up with goals, we should think of, like, I've got some notes here. Let me have a look first. So when thinking of goals, maybe we should think about how we would get there, what would be the journey of the goal. So if we're training to do a marathon, maybe we should think about like consistency. So coming to consistency, so like if you want to train for a marathon, you want to be consistent with your training. And if we are consistent with our training, our outcome will naturally come to us. So rather than aiming for what we'd normally say was a goal, maybe make your goal the training rather than making it that outcome. Because if we can complete smaller goals, but with the training, then it will actually just naturally come, and it will just be an outcome, because that's how life goes, and that's how we should be training to get towards them goals. So when setting goals, if anyone can put ideas of what they think they want the goal to be, so I can use them as examples, that might help me, because I've written loads of notes, but I've kind of not gone off them and then just spewed it out a lot. So let's talk about planning, because when coming up with a goal, we need to plan, like really need to plan. So let's think about, so we have got 3 different types of goals. We've got like long-term goals, medium goals. So that's like a year. Your long-term goal could be where you want to be in 3, 5, 10 years, whenever. And your short-term are like this month, this quarterly period of the year. So like 3 months, or maybe in 6 months. So let's think what is actually achievable in the time period. So if you went from running not at all, the long period goal would be to get to a marathon, or maybe a time. So the immediate goal, what's like the year, would maybe up your mileage to 10 miles, half. That is totally achievable for most people, unless you've got injuries or other issues. And the short-term goal might be to go for 3 runs a week, what is totally achievable, because, well, it depends on you and your lifestyle, obviously, but for an average person who has a 9-to-5 job, that is achievable to go running for half an hour from not running at all 3 times a week. So we want to break down these goals really into really small sections, because small text sections feel achievable, they motivate us, because the worst thing when coming up with a goal is that we don't feel like we're achieving nothing, and then that's when we get like brain fog and we don't reflect, because reflection is absolutely massive. And when you set a massive goal, you feel like that goal gets further and further away and becomes less achievable, even that you are making progress towards the goal. So if we set out small goals, so let's say running 3 times a week, totally doable for me. 3 times a week, it's totally doable. And if this week I go out running 3 times, I get to the end of the week and think, oh my God, I managed to do that. I've done what I set out this week to do, and this is perfect. I have achieved this week's goal, and let's concentrate on next week's goal. And from there, that gives us some base building blocks to up and up and up, till we can train more and achieve more in the week, till we can follow the plan and come to the next step. So when you feel like that goal is like completed, totally achievable, it's normal, it's comfortable, relaxed, then we can up our goal again. So we could go and say, we'll run 4 times a week, maybe do 3 times for 50 minutes. And that's how it would go. So building block, building block, building block. So when thinking of a long-term goal, yeah, fair enough, you could think of a marathon, but don't set off and give yourself too much at once, because we do want to feel like we have achieved stuff from the year, because we all do amazing, but we don't want to take on too much. I've done this many times. I did it last year. Fair enough, it worked for me, but it's not a very good idea at all to give us such hard goals and achievements what really hard to get to, because you start feeling really negative, you get a bit burned out and all the other stuff like that. So let's think of some tips when it comes to goals. So let me look at my notes. So tips to when making a goal, I would say, to be honest, I've said everything I wanted to say. I thought it would take longer than this, but I basically said it all. So really, when you're structuring a goal, we want to think about aiming small because we can always up our goal throughout the year. I feel like a lot of people are like, at the beginning of the year, like any time of the year really, it's like, I want a 6-pack. I want to lose 5 stone. We set out really ambitious goals. And we've all done it, haven't we? Like, but why should we be so ambitious? All these goals should be like measurable as well. So talking about measurable goals. So to set out and say, I want to become faster, I want to become more flexible, I want to run more. Well, like my sister said the other day, like she wants to go to the gym more, and then we laughed because she's only been a couple of times this year. So if she goes 5 times this year, she's completed a goal, but that's not really improved. It's not really improved well-being, self-improvement. We've just set off for more of a challenge to go. Rather than a goal, that's more of a challenge to go to the gym more. As a goal would be, I want to go to the gym consistently, maybe 2 times a week. And that's not saying you couldn't go to the gym 5 times a week. It just means aim for 2. And if you want to go again, that's totally fine. But sometimes it's not. We shouldn't be giving ourselves ridiculous goals like we want to run every day, 7 days a week. We do get ill and we have off days, and we have days where we need to relax. We need to relax and have time to ourselves. Stuff happens in the outside world. So by giving ourselves a goal of quite a small goal, what is totally achievable, it's quite comfortable, we can always up that game. We can always make it better. We can always go to the gym another time. So make your goal quite simple. And I'm not saying that don't go to gym 5 times this week. I'm just saying, like, you can go to gym 5 times every week for the next year, but aim to go 3 times consistently through the year, because then you feel like you are achieving. And when you overachieve, you will feel absolutely amazing because you know you passed your goal that week, and also you've done extra. So how cool are you for like getting there, smashing it, and even for passing that goal? So this is not going to be an overly long video, to be honest. Live, I think we've been on for like 10 minutes, fastest live ever. Has anyone got any questions? Or has anyone got any tips? Has anyone got any ideas? I just thought it would be good to talk about goals, how we should think about achieving them, setting goals and stuff like that. Especially after the other day, I am going to do a separate video, what I'm going to edit in a minute, about my goals. But other day I sat down and I was like, what are my goals this year? So if I go through my diaries, because I put these as, I will show you. So basically I've set aims and goals because I realised your aim throughout the year is totally different to your goal. So your aim is like what you want to do. So I want to become, for my aims, faster, stronger, more knowledgeable about running, flexibility, teaching, my job, and more flexible. I think I said that twice. So they're my aims. So I broke that down and thought, they're not measurable. I can say, I can go out for a run tomorrow and smash my PB for a mile. Does that mean I'm faster? Or am I just having a good day? Because the day after I might be slow. So it's not really measurable to do that. So I kind of broke it down and thought, how do I get faster? So I thought, you do speed training, hill training, short runs, long runs, easy runs, you know the ball game when it comes to running. And I thought, right, so how can I make that a goal? So I put down like, I want to consistently throughout the year do speed training. Because with me, I end up getting a bit burnt out, or maybe I've just not got the time to do it. So my goal this year is to consistently throughout the year speed train. So that does not mean that I can't have a week off. That just means from this week onwards to the end of the year, I want to be speed training throughout the year. Because obviously, if I've got a marathon come up, I don't want to do a hill training session the day before and a speed training session because I need that time. So as long as I'm doing it a couple of times a month, 3 times a month, I am consistently doing it. And as long as it's every month, unless I need some rest period or recovery, at the end of the year, I can go, yes, I did do that. I did recover. I did consistently train that. So then if I do that throughout the year, I should get to my aim, what is get faster, what is not really a measurable thing, but if I complete my goals, that should be generally my outcome. I should be faster. Well, you hope if I put all this training in, I will be. So maybe it'd be better to write down what you want your aims for the year to be, and then try to break them down into goals and think, how can I get to that aim? And how can I make this a goal? Like, if you want to, a lot of people don't stretch who watch this channel, I know that, because everyone always mentions it. And to be honest, with more sports, that is the thing, the last thing everyone thinks about stretching, but I highly advise. So maybe a goal for a lot of you could be consistently throughout the year, I want to do 20 minutes stretching a week. What could consist of you doing it anywhere. You could do it in the gym, you could do it at home. But overall, that is 20 minutes a week you've not done. So throughout the year, at the end of the year, you should be more flexible. Because you have put the training into that. Right. Happy New Year, Chris. So I think that's really all I've got to say. I feel a bit like that was really fast and long-winded. I wish everyone a Happy New Year. If you've got a question, put it in now, because I'm actually going to go, because I feel like I will just ramble and recover and repeat my same thing. So, is everyone having a good year? And has anyone set any goals yet? Because that would be really, really interesting, to be fair, to see what people's goals are. I found it actually really hard to create goals this year, because last year I wanted to run over 100 miles, and the year before that I wanted to get a sub-4 marathon, and I'm really proud of doing that. But I was thinking the other day, is it possible to get a sub 3:30? I thought maybe, but maybe not. And I felt like, well, instead of concentrating on that, why do you not concentrate on consistency? Because I feel like my training has been a lot more consistent last year, but to be honest, I feel like I could be more consistent in actual aspects of my training, rather I was just consistent with running. I did have a period where I got burned out, but I did a hell of a lot of training, and I didn't want to force myself run and make myself miserable because I really wanted to enjoy every bit of it and every bit of the journey I went on last year. And I hope people who've watched do. So I'm going to go now because it looks like no one's got any questions. But thanks for coming. And have you got an idea, Dave, of what ultramarathon you're going to do? Like which one? I'm just wondering, actually. Because if you want to run, I'm assuming you ran a marathon, obviously. Why do you not do, if you feel like that's a bit overwhelming, why do you not do like a 6-hour challenge? So there's like Granny Bay in Blackpool. There is actually, I'm going to put this up. I've got a discount code for the Ultra Loop, what's in Manchester. Obviously, I don't know where you come from. And I think you get like 15% off. And that's literally like a 5K loop and you get 6 hours. And then you don't have to feel like you're putting so much pressure on yourself. And to be honest, once you hit that marathon point, if I'm there, I'll just be like, you need to do it. Like one more loop, you can do this, walk it, just to take some of that pressure off. But them 6-hour challenges are just really good for first ultras because I feel like you don't have to feel like you're going to DNF because you're always going to have done like half a marathon or whatever because anything could happen. So have you got any ideas what ultra? Are you just saying you want to do what ultra and you're going to find one? Well, that's cool. There's loads. If you message me on Instagram, I'm happy to help you to start your first marathon and look at like if it's a bit uphill, downhill. If you just like, and try to help you pick your first marathon because I felt like I did pick a good one, but my first ultra because that was M12, what was absolutely amazing. I've just bought my place in this year's. And I'm so glad I picked that one. But I couldn't imagine like picking the lap. But like the lap I found, maybe it's just because I don't do a lot of hill training. But the lap was worse than Leeds to Liverpool, to be honest. Because at least Leeds to Liverpool was just flat, a straight line, you couldn't get lost. The weather was hot, I guess, same as the lap. But oh my god, the lap. I nearly cried up one of them hills, and it was one of the smallest ones. Yeah, to be honest, I started with road marathons, and I really preferred. I really prefer trail, and I feel like I didn't realise when I started running that trail was a thing. I thought everyone ran on the roads. And I feel like that was a lot for like, I was so embarrassed to run on the roads and I'm like, I don't actually care. Because there is a bit of anxiety when you start a new sport, whether people are going to laugh at you or are you going to be really bad and people are going to be staring at you. But to be honest, I realised no one actually cares. After running 5K backwards, I'm seeing so many people and people being like, what the hell are you doing? And literally laughing with me, not at me. They was like so intrigued. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, people just don't laugh at people for doing stuff. They were so like inquisitive about it. It was quite amazing. But trail is so much better, I think, than road. Plus the scenery is so much nicer. Like, I know like Manchester's like quite a beautiful city, but fields and trail and sheep and cows even that they scare me and weaving through trees is so much better and you feel like you're on a little adventure. I'm trying to think, there is quite a lot up York, I think. I'm sure because I've looked and I've been like, oh, I'd love to try that. But I'm trying to think. I would just have a little Google. I will have a little Google actually. I'm quite intrigued myself. But maybe just ask in an ultra running group, like if you get like Ultra Running UK, someone will recommend one. That's quite a good group, the Facebook Ultra Running. If anyone's in bad ultra runner, that's what I've asked them that because people just literally like, I've never known people like ultra runners sometimes, like some of the comments are harsh. Yeah, I'm going to try do more trail, I think, in the future. Did we even do road ultra marathons? I guess somewhere will. But oh my God, can you imagine running on a road for so long? Do you know what is really good? If you can make for it, Warrington Way for a first ultra is absolutely amazing. Like, for like a first beginner run, it's so friendly and supported. And it's 40 miles, so it's not, you feel like you've done a lot more than a marathon, but it's not 50. So like 50 is a big jump. It's like double. So yeah. So Chris has just said, obviously there's Yorkshire Three Peaks. What is that ultra? I thought that was less than a marathon. Unless you're on about a different race, or I'm thinking of a different race. So maybe a different peak. But yeah. I'm sure someone would help you out online. Right, guys, I'm going to go. It's lovely to see you on New Year's Day. Have a happy New Year's. I hope you enjoyed just having a little chat and talking about goals. And I will see you. Well, the next video is probably going to be up tonight or tomorrow, depending how long it takes me to edit it. So have a good New Year. Thanks for coming, and I'll see you sometime soon. Oh, there's an ultra version. Bye.